person has to be clear that the light of the Creator is with the individual even in the lowest place. Even in the lowest place. There's a verse in Tehillim, in Psalms, that says, Ki esak shamayim sham'ata, which means, when I elevate to the heavens, meaning when a person is in the high spiritual state, when he's connected, when he's inspired, there you are, there the light of the Creator is. Ve'atzia sha'ol hineka. When I am in the lowest depths, there you are. The Kabbalah teaches that those two parts of the verse, one that speaks of the fact that when a person is connected and inspired, he sees the light of the Creator. Also, Atzia Shaol Hineka, when I am in the lowest depths, I see the light of the Creator as well. It's not that these two are separate teachings, but that they are dependent on each other. Which is to tell us that how can a person always elevate when he or she knows, that even when he is in the darkest place, even when he is in the lowest place, the light of the Creator shines just as bright. The negative side wants us to think that the light of the Creator is with us when we're feeling inspired, when we're elevated. It wants us to think that when we've made a mistake, when we've fallen, when we feel uninspired, when we feel in a dark place, then the light of the Creator does not shine as bright. But the reality is, this is an important understanding, the light of the Creator doesn't care. Elevation, falling, those are all the illusions that we experience. But from the side of the light of the Creator doesn't pay attention to elevation or falling, light and darkness. The light of the Creator exists completely in every one of those stages, as it does in the highest elevation. The light of the Creator shines in the lowest state that we ever feel. But to know that is something that the negative side does not want us to know. To know that is something that the negative side wants to hide from us. And one of the most important purposes of a teacher is to remind us that even when you're in the lowest state, either physical or spiritual, the light of the Creator is shining to you in its most complete form, as it does when you feel the most elevated, when you're seeing the miracles, when you're having the clarity. So shoftim titen lecha bechol sharecha, when it says you should appoint a teacher, and this is both for a teacher, but this is for friends, this is for your environment. If you want to know if you're in the right environment, if you want to know if your teacher is right for you, if you want to know if you're in the right place, the question is, when you're in the dark place, is your teacher, is your friend, is your environment awakening within you this consciousness to be clear right now, in this low place, in this dark place, bechol she'arecha, whether you're high or whether you're low, awakening the consciousness and the certainty the light of the Creator is shining completely as it ever does. Because as far as the light of the Creator is concerned, there's no difference between when you're feeling inspired and elevated and when you're feeling low. The light of the Creator shines everywhere. That's the most important purpose of a teacher. That's the most important purpose of friends. That's the most important purpose of environment. Bechol she'arecha. Whatever gate you're in, the highest gate, at the lowest gate, have clarity, have certainty that the light of the Creator is shining there completely. That's the first teaching. Appoint for you a teacher, a friend, an environment that makes sure that you never lose this understanding. At your lowest state, as in the highest state, the light of the Creator is shining to you completely. And this is the secret of what King David is saying in Psalms. Atzia Shaol Hineka, because I know with clarity and with certainty that even in the lowest depths, the light of the Creator is shining to me completely. Therefore, esak shamayim sham'ata. Therefore, I can elevate to the highest states. So that's the first understanding. That clarity that either comes from inside, or that comes from a teacher, or that comes from a friend, or that comes from our environment. The light of the Creator never stops shining, even in the lowest place. Now, why is that important? Why is it important to know? So, the Kabbalists teach another. This is a teaching from the Kedushat Levi, of Levi Yitzchak Berditchev, in last week's portion. In last week's portion we said, it says in the Torah, Aser te'aser et kol ma'asar tvuatcha, which means you have to give a tithing, you have to give a tenth. In those days people would be farmers, from everything that you collect from your field. From everything that you collect from your field, you have to set aside a tenth to give away. Now the Kabbalists teach that those words, aser te'aser, which literally means take a tenth, but it's in repetition, a tenth, take a tenth and a tenth, that those words also mean Aser bishvil shetit asher. That if you are diligent in your tithing, then you will draw wealth to yourself. So aser te aser, which means you should make sure to take a tithe, a tenth of everything that you have, that you give. It also means that if you are diligent in giving a tenth, and tenth we know is not just in money, it's in time, it's in energy. But if you give a tenth of everything that you have, it's a promise from the Creator, I will give you wealth. And the Kedushat Levi, or Levi Tzedaka Berditchev, explains why this works. And it's a beautiful teaching, but it also is practical in many areas of our lives. He says that, let's say for instance, in 1 year, a person makes, just to use an example, $1,000, so the numbers are simple. He gives a tenth of that, $100. That energy of the $100 goes up to the light of the Creator. And the Creator says, okay, there's light here. This $100 has been set aside to be shared, to be given. There's light here. But then the Creator asks a second question. Where did this energy, this light that is I see within this $100, where did it come from? And then the Creator looks further and he says, well, it came out of $1,000. The Creator says, well, if it came out of the $1,000, then all the $1,000 is filled with light. And the Creator, when he sees the tenth, when he sees the 100, he sends light down into the 1,000. So much so that the blessing, if a person truly gives tithing with the consciousness, the Kabbalist teacher of Levi Tzedaka Berditchev says an amazing thing. If a person gives a tenth with true consciousness, then the next year, all the 1,000 will be a tithing, which means that instead of making 1,000, that person will now make 100,000, so that the complete place from which he gave a tithing last year becomes a tithing for this year, right? So instead of being just another year of 100 out of 1,000, next year a person will have the merit to have drawn 100,000 and be able to give 1,000 out of that 100,000. Why? And it's important to understand this logic, because again, when the energy of the tithing of that 1 out of 100 goes in front of the Creator, and the Creator says, where did this come from? And he says, well, this only came out of the entire 1,000. Then the light of the Creator shines down into the 1,000, so that the next year, the person can give all of what was before, everything that he had as a tithing. And of course, that can only be if what he made is increased by tenfold. So the Creator pays attention not just to the 10%, but also where did that come from? And therefore, aser b'shvil shetit asher, if you give tithing, the next year, all of what you gave from will be the tithing, because everything you've made will now be increased 10 times. Because the Creator pays attention not just to the mitzvah, not just to the 10%, to what you've given, but where did that come from? And what happens is that everywhere that it came from becomes elevated as well. Now let's understand this on a deeper way. If a person's feeling down, if a person's in a dark place, and then a teacher or he or she himself becomes awakened to this certainty, the light of the Creator is with me in this darkness. I did a terrible action, I've fallen dark, but I know that the light of the Creator is here with me. If a person really has that consciousness, and then the Creator then gives him the merit with that consciousness, this is the consciousness that elevates the individual. If a person maintains that certainty, and this is what the Kabbalist promised, if a person in the darkest place, in the lowest place, maintains the certainty the Creator is here with me, then that person is elevated. Esak shamayim shamata, elevated to the highest level. But then the Creator says, 1 second, where did this person come from? This person was once in a very dark place, created by all kinds of negative actions. The Creator says, I'm not just going to inject light to where this person now is on the elevated state. I want to inject light into all the places where he was before, into the darkness that he or she was before. And then what happens is that all the darkness that brought the individual to that dark place becomes elevated as well. I hope this is understood, because this is a very important understanding. Rav Ashlag, in the introduction to 10 Luminous Emanations, explains the secret of Zadonot, naasim lechezkuyot. In the month of Elul, we don't want to simply elevate and become a better person. We want to inject light into all the dark places we were this year. That's the work of Elul. The work of Elul is not simply to become a better person. But unfortunately, or fortunately now as we understand it, throughout this year we've been in many dark places. We've created a lot of dark energy. We've created some light, of course, as well. The work of Elul is to be able to elevate all of the dark places. How do you elevate the dark places? This is how. Again, when you are conscious, whether you're going through it now or whether you've gone through it before, that even when I was in the darkest place, and even when I did the most negative thing and fell to the darkest place, the light of the Creator shined to me then and shines to me now as it shines when I'm in the most elevated state. Real certainty about that, real clarity about that. Then all of the negativity, all of the darkness that you might have awakened, and all the darkness that exists, all of what's called the Zadonot, all those negative actions become elevated as well and become purified. Zadonot, naasim, lechezkuyot, so that this year we don't just come with the light of the positive actions that we've created, but we've come with an elevation of all the dark things that we've done as well. This understanding of this logic and using it and having this consciousness is what elevates not just us, but elevates all the dark places we went to this year. All the darkness that we might have created this year. Zadonot, naasim, lechezkuyot, transforming all that darkness into light. It begins with this consciousness. The consciousness again is, even in the darkest place, even if I've done something or something was done to me and I find myself in a dark place, I have complete certainty that the light of the Creator shines to me then, is shining to me then, as it shines when I'm feeling the most elevated, the most connected. And if you do that, then you elevate all those dark places. And no darkness of what you've created this year can exist anymore. Once you understand this, the Kabbalists teach, and this, by the way, is the secret of what's called Or Mekif. Or Mekif literally means surrounding light. Now he explains that all the light that we have not yet revealed surrounds us. So even a person, now we understand the logic of it, even a person in the darkest place, in the lowest place, he still has the totality of his light, of his perfection, surrounding him. So there's no darkness. Either light is internal, what's called opinimi, I've manifested light, or light is Or Mekif, surrounding light. But there's no place for darkness. The Kabbalists teach, this is what it says when the Creator revealed at Mount Sinai, the totality of the light of immortality. It says, Kafa alehem har kegigit. The Creator took Mount Sinai, it says, and He put it on top of them. He surrounded them with a mountain. What was He teaching them? Because the Israelites were thinking, we just came out of Egypt. Egypt represents the lowest place of darkness. We've come from the 49th gate of Tumah, of negativity. How can we receive the light of immortality? How can we receive the totality of the light of the Creator? The answer is simple. If you really have this clarity, if you really have the clarity that even when we were in the 49th gate of Tumah, in the 49th gate of negativity, the lowest place, Atzia Sheol Hineka, when we were in the lowest place, the light of the Creator shined as completely as it shines to us now as we're seeing the complete revelation of the light of immortality. Then even those 49 gates of Tum'ah, even those 49 gates of negativity now become elevated and shine completely. And only because the Israelites came to that consciousness were they able not just to elevate themselves, they were able to elevate all those places of darkness where they were before. Again, as I said, it's a very important concept. But going back to where we started, this is the most important purpose of a teacher. This is the most important purpose of friends. This is the most important purpose of environment. It's easy to support somebody when they're being inspired, when they're growing. But the real purpose of a teacher, and this is one of the things that I always saw with the Rav, people would call, whether with physical problems or with spiritual problems, and if you think about it, those of us who have the merit to be around the Rav, what was the gift of the Rav? That there was certainty. Why was there certainty? There was certainty because the Rav knew. It doesn't make a difference. Okay, so you're experiencing this challenge. The light of the Creator is shining to you now as it shines to somebody who's in complete elevation, complete inspiration, not feeling that problem that you're going through. But that's the purpose of a teacher. The purpose of a teacher or a friend or environment is to tell you this, wherever you are, whatever low place you're in, the light of the Creator is shining to you as completely as it ever does. And again, when you have that support, whether it's coming from you internally, whether it's coming from your surroundings, whether it's coming from a teacher, or whether it's coming from a friend, then you're able to elevate all the darkness. Because the Creator says, oh great, you've elevated now. Where did it come from? It came from the darkness. Well, then the darkness has to be filled with light too. And that's the work of the month of Elul. Not just to elevate, but to start with this consciousness, the light of the Creator shines always. Whether I'm feeling inspired, whether I'm feeling uninspired, whether I'm feeling connected, whether I'm feeling disconnected, whether I've just done the worst negative action or the most positive action, the light of the Creator doesn't care. The light of the Creator continues to shine, either in Pnimi, internal light, or surrounding light. There is no place for darkness. There is no place for darkness. And with that certainty, you elevate. And once you elevate, the Creator says, well, where did you come from? I came from that dark place. The Creator says, okay, that dark place gets light too. Where a person, as the Israelites at Mount Sinai, why were they able to receive the light of immortality? Not because they elevated in that moment, but because in that moment all their darkness was filled with light. All the 49 gates of Tumah, all the 49 gates of negativity, the Creator said, that's where you came from, and you now understand that even in that state, I was shining to you completely. Now even those 49 gates of negativity are filled with light. That's the purpose of spiritual work. That's one of the most important states of consciousness to have, and that's the most important purpose of a teacher, of a friend, or surrounding. Titen lecha bechol she'arecha. Surround yourself with a teacher, with friends, with an environment, and internally know, no matter what gate you're in, the highest gate or the lowest gate, the light of the Creator is shining to you completely. You know that, you elevate. You elevate, the Creator says, where did you come from? From the 49th lowest gate? Misha'on, from the lowest place? That now becomes filled with light. When that becomes filled with light, then you're perfect. You achieve perfection. Zadonot, naasim, lechezkuyot, even the most negative things we've done in this year become elevated and purified. As I said, it's not an easy concept and it has parts to it, but I strongly recommend, if you didn't completely understand the logic of it, watch this again, because this is the consciousness and work you need to do in order not just to elevate in Elul, not just to elevate in this month, but to be able to transform all the darkness that we've done this year or in any other year, in any other incarnation, to complete light. Very, very important.